In our previous video, we created a sales order, configured an item to it, and we did a football jersey, converted it to a firm plan production order, and we checked our material requisition and shortages. And in this video, we're going to take our firm plan production order, we're going to release it to the shop, and we're going to do the processing on the first operation, including material consumption and output posting, capturing of labor, and statistics. You can see the firm plan production order 101006 in front of us, and we're going to release this to the shop. So I'm going to go to the change status screen, and I'm going to release our production order. In that case, the system will take our 101006 and convert it to a 101018 released production order. I'm going to go to release production orders and open up my production order. Here's my production order. It looks fairly similar to the firm plan production order, and we can now take a look at the job card, sometimes called Job Traveler. The report that should give us a full overview of every operation and material that is needed on this job. You make it a little bit bigger. We can take a look. We have an overview of every operation step, our production order and item, what operation we're on. The first one is operation 10. And you can see that this document is completely ready for barcode scanning. If you have barcode scanners on the shop floor, it's much easier to enter without errors what production order and operation you're working on. If I scroll down, we can also see capacity that's been allocated when this has been planned and what materials are needed. And once again, you can see that the materials are barcode scanning ready. Let me go to the next page, and we can see that our second operation, the knitting of the neck, also has its own screen with barcodes and possible materials if there are any. Each page in the document will be for a separate operation. Close my report, and let's take a look at the components we have. If I go to my components, these are all the components we have. As we saw in previous video, we have quantities per, and we have rounded quantities that we're going to need, so we don't grab too little. At this point, I have not consumed any of my materials, so my actual consumption is completely empty, and my remaining quantity is at its full set. Let's consume some material for this operation. I'm going to go to my consumption journal, and I'm going to calculate consumption for my production order. My production order number is 101018, and I want to calculate consumption for my routing link code cutting, which is my first operation. Okay? And I end up with four materials, the four materials that were linked to my first operation, my cutting operation. You see the quantities, and at this point you can go through and fill in the actual quantities. So maybe I use 0.9 yards for my metallic plus black, 0.75 for my pro bright, 0.5, and let's say 0.25 on the last one. If you have lot tracked inventory, at this point you can also specify what lot you're pulling your inventory from. You would go to the item tracking line, select entries, and specify the lots we have. Currently we only have one lot available, so that's the only one I can pull from, and we're going to pull 0.25 from this lot, and it has enough available for us to pull from. Okay? And that's how you specify what lot to pull inventory from. Once we've done, we can post our consumption. And let's go back to our production order to take a look. Production orders. If we go back to our components, we should see that the first four components now have an actual consumption number against them, and the remaining quantity has changed to reflect that there might be some possible remaining quantity to be done. Next, let's take a look at our routing. Pull up the routing steps. Our first routing is a cutting operation, then I've got some knitting going on, some sewing, imprint, inspection, and shipping. Right now, each of these is in the plan status. Nothing has happened yet. The system will plan out in the time which how much time is needed for each of these steps based on setup time and runtime. So that's our schedule right now. We can take this schedule and we can show it in a graphical scheduler as well. There will be a separate video showing that. I'm going to clock in and out of this first operation and record time against it. In order to do so, I'm going to go to the time entry. And the time entry screen allows multiple employees to clock into operations and clock out when they're done. The screen is designed to be used by multiple employees at the same time, so the screen will clear out every time an operation is done. I'm going to scan my badge number, or in this case, choose it. I'm going to type in the production order or scan it from my traveler. And I'm going to fill in the operation number that I want to clock into. In this case, I'm going to choose the cutting operation. Once I've selected my operation number, I can press the clock in button, and the screen will clear out at that point for the next operation to do their thing. Once I'm done with my cutting operation, I've done all the things I need to, I can clock out and gather the time and post it towards the job. In order to do so, all I have to do is scan my badge number again. The system will pull up the operation that I'm clocked into. I can mark whether or not my task is complete, and I can say clock out. As soon as I click clock out, the screen is emptied out for the next user to do their work. Let's take a look at our production order. Back on production order of 10.10.18, if I take a look at the routing, you can see that my routing status is changed to finished. Also, if I go back to the production order, if you look at the fact box on the right-hand side, you can see that after our operations, I've gathered $16.24 in material on the first operation, and I've gathered $28.10 in labor cost for my production order as well. I can also look at the statistics to see information about the expected cost and the actual cost up until this point.